My name's Jill Vialet, and I'm the founder and president at Sports4Kids. I grew up in D.C., and I'm 43, so I'm that kind of generation of women right after Title IX. So I got to play everything, but I got to play with boys mostly. And there was this one park, I used to go to Cleveland Park, at the Macomb Street Playground in Cleveland Park. And there was this guy, Clarence. And Clarence didn't make a big deal out of it, but he just made sure I got to play. And I remember thinking, you know, I could make it so every kid had a Clarence. We're addressing the issue of play and physical activity for kids. So we target low-income public elementary schools, and we hire young adults, and we train them, and then we send them, one per school, out to be the nexus of play at that school. We're in sort of massive growth phase. We're really trying to figure out what scale looks like for us and how to get there. So over the last 2 years, we've grown from being in about 60 schools to 130 this year, and from having one office in Oakland to 5 offices, one in the South Bay of California, Bay Area, and then one in Boston, one in Baltimore, and one in D.C. So this is my second summit, and the first time I was invited by a friend, Dan Cardinale, who'd been involved with Rich's work and knew about Harwood, and he was really strongly encouraging, to the point of, you know, threatening physical violence. He really wanted me to come. He was pretty clear, and it came at a time, I think, with all the stuff going on for me, with us going to scale, and especially sort of the way that Rich really compels folks to think about things, sort of from the perspective of the personal, and then the organizational, and then societally, and impact, and that kind of stuff. It felt like a really valuable way to sort of ground myself getting ready for the new school year. I was asked the question, what would you do differently if you knew that Sports4Kids was going to be closing up shop in 5 years? And it was a great conversation. It wasn't just about Sports4Kids, obviously. It was the whole group and everyone thinking about their own organization. And my initial reaction while we were talking was, well, I'd flip. I mean, currently the way we do things is that about 95% of our efforts are direct service programming, and about 5% is training of trainers and advocacy work. And I thought, wow, you know, if I knew we were going to close up in 5 years, I would flip it. I'd be like 5% direct service and about 95% advocacy and training of trainers, in the hopes of really getting our approach out and disseminated as widely as possible. It was funny, the longer we talked about it, though, I wasn't as sure that I would do the policy switch as much as that maybe I would try and figure out a way over the next 5 years to create an economic model for the program where it could be you know, sustaining, where it could almost be a for-profit. Like there'd be a way to run the model and have somebody else pick it up because it covered its own cost. You know, that you could do it in a way that that basically people would pay for the full cost of getting those kind of services. And that was an interesting. It was just really it was thought-provoking. It brings up the issues around sort of one's idealism and how you kind of move forward with your mission and your relationship to your mission. I definitely make more compromises because we're trying to be around for the long haul than I would if I could just sort of throw, you know, caution to the wind and just go all, you know, out. I want to sort of try and figure out how to achieve sort of a geographic omnipresence with our program as the gold standard for play in the country, and then to climb up on top of that, you know, for lack of a better word, empire, and really be involved in the systems change that is really about reminding people that the whole child is essential, and that our educational system isn't about raising kids who take tests really well, but rather about you know, giving them the skills and capacity to be joyful and happy and self-actualized.